gals, friends and fans of Bob's Farm Workshop. Here we are back at the electric bench. This is actually in my house, in my basement. I know another guy that does retro computer stuff in his basement. What do you think? Anyway, I'm just testing this computer right now to show you that, yes, this computer is up and working. And I fixed it a couple years ago. I didn't fix it, actually. I sent the chips away to get tested, and one of the chips was bad. So the fellow that tested it for me also, it was the bad PLA chip, programmable logic array, that controls basically everything on the computer. I just plugged the keyboard in. I want to show you my problem. I put a micro switch in for the space bar. Everything else works fine, but I put that micro space in, and if you gotta kind of mash it at this end, and it works. But it's a mechanical switch across the contacts on the circuit board. And so what I'm going to do today is I scored on eBay for 12 bucks in shipping a like new, it doesn't look like it's ever been hardly used, a like new keyboard circuit board. The switches are fine. All they do is they have like metallicized, whatever you want to call it, conductive pads that come down and touch these gold pads. These gold pads are perfectly clean. I think maybe I'll clean it off with a little deoxit. I got to remove the old circuit board, the old keyboard circuit board, which comes right off the back easily. I've already taken some of the screws out. I think I found all of the 20-some screws. I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I don't know, that looks like 18, but I recovered most of them, and I think if I put them in here in the right spots, it'll be okay. So I got to take these tiny screws out. I'm going to clean this circuit board contacts. They're gold plated, they shouldn't need cleaning, but I'm going to clean them. Oh, by the way, I'm using my, I got rid of my old nasty power brick and got this fancy guy. He comes up with a voltmeter and everything in there, so you don't burn up your Commodore. This tells you how many hours it's been running. Unbelievable. And you can turn it off and you can turn it on, and when you first power it up, it comes up with Commodore on there, all nice and cool. So that won't be a problem. So all that's not original in this Commodore is the PLA. It does have a substitute PLA. All right. Well, I got a fleece shirt on and it's too hot. So this guy's powered off. Let me get a very small screwdriver. We will disassemble. Alright, so I'm back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spray some deoxit. Awesome stuff for cleaning connectors and so on. Just spray it on a paper towel, and I'm just going to wipe over the entire contact surfaces first, to make sure there's no oxidation. And I don't know if I like the idea of leaving, there's a slight lubricant in the deoxit. So my next step is to basically do the same. I gotta get another paper towel. I went and got my roll of paper towels. Put that right up there for now. What I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna take the IPA, isopropyl alcohol, and this is 91%. I found this at the drugstore. I know some guys are using 99 and so on, but this is what I got. And I'm going to clean that residue from the deoxit off. Oops. I don't want to get any debris in there, which I'm doing with this paper towel. So be careful with a paper towel. They can leave bits behind. So we're going to set this guy aside to dry for a little bit while I disassemble as Short Circuit would say in the movie, disassemble, not disassemble. Cute movie. Okay, we're going to set him aside, and we're going to take this circuit board out, get that covered up. When I get the circuit board out, I'm going to clean the contacts of the key switches. Let's see, I think the biggest one works. And you don't want to reef these screws in. If you ever take them out, you know, don't cinch them down with all your good nuts when you get done. Just down so they touch and you can feel that it's snug. Because you'll strip that plastic out, especially if you've taken these out a couple times, you know what I'm saying, dude. They only go in a little over 1/8 of an inch. And we will lift the bad circuit board out. Now if you look at what I did to repair it, when I got this computer, now if you notice, this is something else different. This one has like black contact carbon material on top of the circuit board, and I actually fixed some of them that were intermittent by, I've got a paste, like a paint that's conductive for fixing contacts. But anyway, there must have been some sort of acid or something that dripped down into this keyboard because it had eaten up all these traces right here. So as you see, I've laid little tiny threads of wire on these and reconstructed the traces back over. Well, the spacebar just didn't work for crap anymore, so I actually put a micro switch on there, and it works. But you know, you kind of got to mash it. So that guy's gone. I'm not going to trash him. I don't know, maybe I'll send it to Adrian so he can see if he wants it. Now I'm going to go over every one of these contacts. Now they've completely dried almost already. So, and I didn't leave any fuzz behind. I'm looking with my magnifier glasses here. Alright. So, there we go. New keyboard. Now there is one mechanical switch that locks in here that has to be soldered. That's basically the only soldering you got to do on this whole thing. I don't see any debris in there. She's very clean. My old honey is getting a revamp here. There's the index pin. And there's an index pin up here. Okay. So now we just insert screws. Okay, I think we're good for testing. Aunt Bethany. Okay. Alright, spacebar. That all works. I'm guessing the contact on my spacebar is bad. What do you think? Well, that's a curmudgeon, or whatever. See, that's why I didn't put all the screws back in. So now, I'm screwed. I gotta figure out why that doesn't work right. Now I have ran this through Oh, this is one of the 425 boards too, in case you forgot, which is supposedly the newer version. The original version was a 250-407, and that's probably the most popular one that was built because it was the first couple of years of production. And after it hit about 5 million units, so if you look at your serial number, if it's before 5 million, for a US NTSC version, it's probably going to be a 407. This being a 425, I've seen people, a famous A-named guy on YouTube that said, you know, and I also did his modification to the RF modulator to make everything a little bit sharper. So, that being said, let's open this up again. I won't show you all that, and figure out if I can do something with that switch. So I'm going to zoom in here, and I've got my Fluke 87 here. My probes are like 3/10 of an ohm. Let's see what the contacts read on this switch. Like 8K. 2K on that. Well, depending on how hard you push. So, I can see the switch activating just fine. I'm wondering if I just need to put a spring or something underneath that. I'm wondering if it's just not hitting the circuit board. Or if I can trade it with a key I rarely, if ever, use. I don't know what that would be. Yeah, they don't seem to come out quite as, it doesn't come out as far as the other keys. I think it's just missing the circuit board. So I got to see if there's a spring or something that's supposed to be under there and if it's missing. Alright, so let's explore that. So it looks like we got to take the keyboard out. Again, screws and plastic, so be careful. I thought for sure I smashed it. Danced around on the concrete floor there. Okay. So I need to take a good look inside here. Because I've never had one of these off. There doesn't seem to be any latches on the end. They just drop into a groove on the back side. Okay. So, well, that goes directly to the top. So is there any way because the way that keyboard was working, I'm positive that it all worked fine. I'm going to put my fingers under this. Is there a spring in there? Oh, that's on like a rubber band. That hasn't even got a spring under it. And I see it latches around it. It's amazingly springy for being 40 years old. New Jersey accent. I put just enough screws so it's around the space bar. Okay. Look at that. So she's fixed. Uh-oh. It might have too much paper under it. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to have to take the paper out of it, or some of it. Because it's... Okay, yeah, I found the problem. And it's me, because I either lost the spring that goes under that key, or I lost it a long time ago. Look on the floor and around where I took that off. It's just a fine... That's the problem. That's why I'm getting spaces all the time, because the keyboard is falling down. The weight of the key is pressing the button down. So, if I don't find that little spring, I'm going to have to find something to substitute. Well, I'm going to have to go get a flashlight and look under the bench here, so we'll be back in a while. Alright. Persistence pays off. I found the spring. I'll stretch them out good, so... No. Oh, okay. I don't want to know what that is. So that guy's got to come up. Let me put my OptiVisor back on so I can see how this spring attaches so I don't break something. Somehow I got to get it in between there. And I think I'm just going to do it by feel. I might have it. Oh, no, not quite. Okay, my tweezers. There they are. There we go. Now I won't have my key. Jumping all over. Okay, just out of paranoia, we're going to test that again. But I say that has it. Finally. Alright, I'll put in I'm not going to hook up the SDIC right now. I don't know how to use that. But anyway, that's a cool thing. And they're not expensive. I don't know how much I paid, but not a lot. So instead of buying a disk drive, you buy one of these. It works just like the disk drive, software-wise. And you can get all the they're called .d64 files online. And you'll find hundreds and hundreds of them that have already been put on the file, because there's just an EEPROM and a cartridge or a software program, and they just take the program and turn it into a file called D64 would be the suffix. I don't know why this is going in and out of color and not. I think it's the monitor, but perfect space bar now. See the cursor moving. Alright. Return, it's going to say syntax error. Nice. I can verify, okay. Let's do that. I'm going to set up my oscilloscope and we will look at the signal coming out of the Commodore 64 to make sure that we have color information and it's not coming out of the chip that way. So let me set my little scope up quick and I'll be right back. Alright, I want to make sure you're aimed where you can see this. I already know, I worked in video signal processing when I worked for Kodak for years. I don't know which one of these pins is the video output. Vertical. Okay, here we go. Trigger. There's the trigger. I don't even see trigger. There's trigger. Okay, here's trigger. There's our lines of video. And see, there's color on there. Colored burst information. Now if I can get this to trigger on the horizontal pulse, there we go. That's what's called the horizontal reset pulse as it goes through the many lines. And there should be a 3.5 megahertz burst of color right here. And that's what makes the how the monitor can decode what color it is, because the time shift and the frequency of this color burst matched that resets at every line compared to each one of these will tell the monitor it's complex. It's all done with filtering and time delays what color it should be displaying on the color guns. But that verifies now. The reason it's jumping is because we're not looking at any one particular line. We're looking at random lines as they go into the computer and into the monitor from the computer. And so sometimes we're on the border. That edge right there is the border, and then this is the middle of the field, and you can see it changing up and down because that's the intensity brightness of the difference between the dark blue and the light blue center. And every once in a while you'll see what looks like noise. That's the text. Now sometimes you can do video triggering. Menu, next page. I don't think this one does video triggering. Mode, normal, single, auto. Yeah, I can't do it with this one. The one that was on the demonstration. But this pulse resets each line. It's all done with filtering and analog circuitry inside the monitor. So we got color coming all the time. That's the monitor that so the C64 is doing good. That's what I'm saying. It looks beautiful now, don't it? Contrast. Too bright. So this monitor works fairly well. I don't see a lot of burn in, which means you can see spots where it's faded where video used to be. NTSC, doesn't that stand for never the same color? Yeah, that's how a color signal is decoded, by the time spacing between the 3.58 megahertz color burst and then how the time shifts it within each line. It's complex, but that's the way they've done it. They don't do it that way now on a digital TV. But we should be able to find that. That's just the chroma. What's the color? Is that the lumina over here? It's hard to get on these pins because they're tucked way back in there. This should have a chroma and a luma output, which is basically S video. Yeah, okay, there's the luma. Now that just tells, that's what you would use for just a black and white TV. So if you wanted the best, if you had just a monochrome monitor, like a green or an orange or even just a black and white, you would only want to use this channel so that you don't have color signal on there that it has to filter out. So that's pretty cool, eh? A little bit of video theory here. Yeah, you see, you can see the different text modes and stuff coming up here because it changes the brightness for those. And trigger. Again, we're back on the color signal. That's the composite signal. That's both luma and chroma together. If you separate those, they don't interfere with each other and you'll get a sharper picture. Some monitors have what they call an S-video input. This one apparently doesn't. It probably could easily be modified. All you do is bypass the input filtering. Because when you bring in that composite video, it goes through some resistors and capacitors and coils and stuff. And it separates out just the luma and the chroma. It's because the chroma tells it what color to be and the luma tells you how bright it's going to be. But I'm glad to have it totally fixed now. So, that's the name of that tune, guys. I guess I got color back. I've given you a little lesson on NTSC color decoding. What happens is there's 525 lines of sweep and then they alternate odd and even every time they go through the picture. And then there should be a vertical reset pulse here somewhere you can find on this. If you really stretch this out, let's see if I can do that for you while we're here. Does that probe not work? What am I looking at? Was I just looking at that? There's the chroma signal output. Oh, there it is. Let me change the amplitude down here. So if we stretch this way out time-wise, see the reset interval going through there? That just looks like a blank spot in there a little bit. I don't know if I can do anything triggering wise. I really can't, I guess. Oh, it triggers once in a while. Let's do a one shot. There. You see that interval? That's where it gets to the bottom of the picture and starts over. And every one of these spikes is one of the 525 lines until it gets to the next one. It goes back to the top. That's the retrace. So there you go. Again, if you want to see me do more Commodore 64 stuff, you want to send in broken ones, bad power supplies. If you've got one at home, the problem is a lot of the old power supplies that came with it, the old black brick, or sometimes they're a brown brick, they go bad. And they will put the wrong voltage into your computer and fry a lot of the sensitive chips. So you don't really want to do that. I put heat sinks on here just because, now see, that's just slightly warm. My SID chip works. Let's put a diagnostic cartridge in here. I got a crap load of them. What did I do with them? You want to see some Commodore fun? Alright, I just dumped the Easy Flash 3 cartridge in here. I don't think I've ever experimented with this. Wow. How do we move up and down with the arrows? Oh, see, hit the menu. What's special? Well, it just went back. We got too much saturation or contrast or something. Color level go down a little bit. It'll actually make it easier to read. Developed by Ski, it says at the bottom. So what you do with the Easy Flash is you actually put images of your favorite software in here, and you can use this as like a loader too. Alright, well that one's cool. I got all these cartridges and I don't even remember what they're for. This one here is the ultimate, I believe. The final cartridge 3. Supposedly the last cartridge you'll ever need. Now this one isn't in a fancy. Let's see what he does. Oh, this is like, I guess you need a mouse for this. Hold on. Let's see if I got my old controller over here that I boogered up. Yep. Now, would that be into keyboard or controller 1 or controller 2? What do you think? Okay. Oh, it's moving. Let me try it in the other one. See if it works better than that. I don't know how this works. Okay. Resets it. This is kind of like an operating system, I guess. Although I can't get this to do anything. It doesn't go up and down for some reason. Because I guess it wouldn't. Return or enter doesn't do anything. Okay, well I don't know what that one does either, so I'm going to have to read up on it. I know I got like dead test and I want to hear the SID play. How about you? This is just a test cartridge. Oh, that's the alignment test for the 1541. Alright. else I got in here? Alright, I got 2 of those. What I need to do is know how to use it. Oh, I think on the top of it, it tells you. So let me look at this one. I know, this is boring. I'm definitely not a professional computer guy. Okay. On the back there's a chart written in microscopic language. I thought I had. I'm going to start with all of them in the one position. See what pops up. Nothing. Because I know they're supposed to go into like dead tests and stuff. So I obviously don't know how to use this either. I know I was doing dead test on some of the other, on this computer. And it does have a SID test. Anyway, so I gotta do my research, boys and girls. Anyway, I'll probably cut this out because this isn't getting us anywhere. Well, I don't know how well this shows up. It's doing the SID check right now. The SID is the sound interface device, I guess is what that stands for. The rolling you see on the screen is just the sync between the camera and the video refresh, so that gray bar moving up and down is not real. It's just a... but it's checking all the other chips and stuff. Of course, this thing has gone black and white again. Obviously there's something loose. I've been twisting the knobs and stuff to try to get it. It comes and goes. The reason I'm showing some bad chips is there's not a feedback loop. There's a special harness you're supposed to get for this that plugs into all the outputs so they can talk back and forth and check. They're not hooked up, obviously. So, well, this is working fine. But the SID is pretty bad, so I'm going to see what I can find. If I can get a different kind. I know there are replacements. Trying to find the original one is a hard thing.
I'll tell you.